Sorry, I think the camera wiggle. Okay, we're live. Want to lead us off since we're new? We have to do things.
So we currently have no chair, no vice chair, no secretary. So your first order of business would be to vote your chair, your vice chair, and your secretary. I think all the committees are doing a secretary now.
Oh, okay.
So we're open for nominations?
A nomination, Michelle.
I'll second
Jim.
that. I was gonna nominate Dave.
Is there a second?
How does it work?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I've never had one where we had more than one motion on the floor.
No, this is not a motion. This is an election.
You have a nomination, you have a second.
Bill, will you second?
Any,
Yeah, I would second that. Dave's willing to accept it.
Yeah, I would
He is
think-
the,
I'm the longest standing member.
are you?
No, well, the longest standing member, but I've been on 3 years before that.
No, I was on 3 years before that.
And I was also a select board member for 3 years.
Okay.
And I was a planning board member for 5 years. And I was a ARB member for X number of years. So,
Whatever then.
I mean, it's not based on seniority. It's,
No, I'm just saying that usually order of process who served on a board, that's the way the select board does it, is the oldest one on there did it. And it's no offense. I was there 3 years and this is my 4th and you came on. That's all it is.
yeah, but I was on 3 years before that.
But not consecutively with me. That's all. That was in the past before your select board, right?
Huh?
How long ago was that?
That was before I was on the select board.
Right. So
I
it was
on the
years
select
ago.
board,
I'm just
but-
saying. So
so we have 2 nominations, one for Michelle and one for Dave. All in favor of Michelle? Aye. Did you vote? Okay, so 3. All in favor of Dave? 3 to 3. We're at a stalemate.
Which is exactly what I said before.
right.
What do we do about ties?
Put your names in a hat.
We could do that.
Don't look at me.
Pick
No.
one.
Well, I know you're not gonna. I
I'm
mean,
not
that's-
gonna get yelled at
Yeah,
for
and
voting.
because Michelle already explained that, because in the past, the treasurer was always a select board member, but they were also a resident
Resident.
line. So when
Yeah.
you became the treasurer, Michelle
But
explained.
when
it.
they redid the charter, they messed it up because they didn't put it where it should be. And so it's a charter commission problem now.
Yeah,
Because no one realized that it had to do with the fact that the treasurer had to be she at the time
Yep.
was a member of Lyman and she
Yep.
wanted to be able to vote.
but so now we end up with
We have a
board
tie.
of 6 people who
Yep.
vote,
Yep.
which brings up another question. What is a quorum? Because that's an important question. In order for have a meeting, you have to have a quorum.
I understand.
And a quorum is a winning vote. So if there's 5 people, 3 people are a quorum. If there's 7 people, 4 people are a quorum. If there are 6 people, I believe 4 people are a quorum.
Quorum is always one more than half.
Yes.
So 4 would be your quorum.
Yeah, so going forward, we can only have a meeting if we have 4 people.
That's something we decide after we figure this out.
Yeah.
So does anyone want to change their nominations, their vote? You know, we still have a vice chair to talk about. Anyone willing to budge on that one?
I think you can flip a coin or draw it out of a hat.
How would you like to handle that?
I vote for flipping a coin. So it's up to you, Michelle. Whatever you want to do.
You know,
Bill's got
it
a
just,
coin.
oh, it shouldn't be this difficult. So do you want 2 chairs? I mean, this is just kind of,
You can co-chair.
we can do that too. if
I
that's
don't
what-
think that's a good idea.
So if we flip a coin,
Whoever wins gets to be chair and the other one gets to be vice chair.
vice chair.
Or do you want to do a silent vote where maybe someone wants to change their mind as who doesn't want to publicly say it?
I think that's a waste of time.
Yeah, I think so too.
So what, then you go 2 out of 3 flips? I mean, it's just like,
Just flip it once. We'll let an impartial
Just let it
person over
fall on
here.
the table.
Let,
Anybody
let
got
Amber
Joe-
flip it.
The next question is, anybody got a coin?
I got a
No.
coin.
I got
Nobody
no
carries
coin.
coins.
I got a coin.
That's my point.
The
I have
bank won't
coin.
even take them
I
now.
know.
Yeah, you
I
can't
have
turn them in.
cash too, but that's not gonna help it.
I think if you roll them, they'll take them.
Nope.
Not even if you roll
They
them.
won't take my deposits.
No, you have to
No
put it through the
kidding.
machine now.
Really?
Get in there. I just dumped my entire
Yeah,
wallet.
so I ended up, now I have to go up to Waterboro to make my
Wow.
deposits.
I do have a coin.
It says a lot about today's society. We got a bunch of people in a room, nobody has a coin.
I got a coin.
There it
I'm
is.
lucky if I have cash, let alone a coin. I actually
Okay,
have
so whose
cash
heads,
today.
whose tails?
Huh?
Whose heads, whose tails?
Seniority, flip, you call seniority.
Okay, heads. Tails.
Okay, so Michelle's gonna be our chair. And by default, are we gonna make Dave our vice chair?
I would like to
Yes.
actually nominate Dave as vice chair.
I'll second.
All in favor? And your secretary,
Okay.
I'll leave it to the chair.
Secretary, oh my goodness, is anyone good with notes?
I am, but I can't write
I
for
know.
6 weeks. No,
That's even harder position to fill than chair.
Mr. Bill?
I'll do it, I guess.
There's really
You
not a
are-
lot to
you
write
are-
down, or
Thank you.
it's just
You're welcome.
coordinate, it's doing the
So
agenda, which you coordinate
have to-
with the chair.
do we just pick or do we have to do the, probably, so
I
I
would do it.
nominate Bill
Yeah.
for,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Hey, I won another
All
election.
right, there, you're on a roll now. You're on a roll.
Not sure how that feels. I'm secretary of 2 other boards.
All right.
wait.
So I'm gonna have, if it's okay with everyone, Jeanette, you wanted to start off going over the numbers that you've given us, so that way it's on YouTube for everyone to hear.
So,
And then what it has to do with what we're voting on tonight.
okay, so what I did for the board was I took the 134, 746. I figured out the health, which the town pays for, the dental, which the town pays for. Health and dental are on a calendar year, so we know what the first 6 months are, but we don't know what the last 6 months are. So using the budget number that we built last year, I put that factor into here. Now, if they do main PERS, it's at 10%. So running through these,
can I just ask a stupid question?
Sure,
What is
no.
main PERS versus 457B?
okay, so
Then
main
deposit
PERS
something,
is
steal it.
one kind of retirement plan. 457B is another kind of retirement plan. We're bound by main PERS, if they choose main PERS, to pay what main PERS tells us to pay. And the same with the employee, where 457B is capped at 6%, which is what's in your policy. You guys voted that a long, long time ago. So what I did then was I backtracked it into an hourly rate using those figures with what we have to pay and what the employer portion is.
Did you include the family in case there was a family?
I did not include family, which will make a difference.
Do you know the ballpark, what it would be, or does it matter how big their family is?
No, so we pay for family, we pay 70% of the difference between a single and a family plan.
Okay. Do you know
And
what the family plan
Jeanette,
is?
Not off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
why is the town clerk and the select board clerk's salary showing as the same amount when they were different in the budget?
They're showing us the same because it's not determined. So in order, because on the warrant article, it says 134,000. It's not determined, and it's not up to me to make that determination what that rate is actually going to be.
So you just did a split
So
down the middle.
I
to-
split it right down the middle.
Well, wouldn't we go by what previous select board clerks and town clerks' salaries were budgeted for?
You don't have
Which
enough
was,
money
what,
to do that.
65, well, I know, but just
Yeah.
hypothetically, I'm just hypothetically, and I don't have last year's budget in front of me. I don't know if you have it.
I don't have it with me.
But off the top of my head, and don't quote me, is I thought it was Oh, you got it.
Ken's got it.
Oh, here's a guy that's
All
prepared.
right. So the select board clerk. This is the current one. We don't have a select.
So-
board
That's not
clerk.
last year.
So, Sue, just to give you an idea, those amounts are going to be determined by the board. And I just split it
Okay.
out so that you could get an idea of what it looks like.
Because it could be a part-time
I'm
select board
not-
clerk.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not determining anything. I just wanted to give them some perspective
Right, right.
on what the costs are. They will determine that if the warrant,
Mhm.
warrant article passes.
But I
That would be up
believe
to
there
them
was
to
like
determine.
$10,000 difference between the select board clerk and the town clerk. It was,
And yeah, it could be
it was
somewhere around
roughly
there.
about 10,000. So one of these was about 54 and the other one was about, I don't know, 34. Don't quote me on that at all.
Yeah.
But
So the
I mean, just-
134, there's not enough to do that. To make that happen.
Well, there probably is now if you do it at 3/4 of a year.
Yeah, you could probably do it at 3/4. There's a lot of
Right.
different factors that go into play
Yeah,
with
so what
this.
we're saying is if we decide to go with it, we should fund the whole thing. My initial thought was to take 75% of that and fund it because we've got a quarter of the year already gone. But
Right.
because of what you just told us, we should probably, if we agree with this, we should fund the whole thing.
So if you stay at the 134.
You can't change the
Yeah, that's what
article.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
because we can't change the
Dave, you
article.
can't change the article.
Yeah, it's either,
at this
oh,
point.
it's either a vote yes or vote no.
Either a
basically,
yes
right?
or
Well,
no.
The only thing we
the
can do
select
is
board
reduce the
changed it,
amount.
they put 0 in.
You can
Right.
only reduce the
We
amount
can reduce the amount,
at
at
the
the
time of
meeting.
vote.
right. at
Well,
the-
but what we're talking about, we're not talking about voting, we're not talking about anything. We're talking about one thing. What's the number we're gonna put in here? The select
Correct.
board put
You
0.
can put whatever number you want.
And what I'm saying is, if we think that we wanna do this, we should do the whole 134, because that's gonna probably be what it's gonna cost.
So then that would probably lead to, we'd want to have a motion in a second so we could discuss our thoughts.
Okay, I move that we fund 134, whatever the number is. 134,746.
Any second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
I'm sure there'll be discussion here.
I think if you change the figure and put something different in, lower or whatever the case may be, that you're gonna confuse the people that already know and have seen this article and know what the amount of the money is, because it's been public, that the amount of money has been public.
But you saw that number.
I saw that number, yes,
Yeah.
0.
And that leads to beg, is that an option too? Because think about it this way. I mean, I don't know, and this is something I didn't have time to research. I had meetings all day today. There's a lot of elderly that were able to take advantage of the freezing your taxes for a year or two. And I think that program ended, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yes, that
Yes.
program
So-
has been repealed.
So what I didn't get to research, and maybe you know the answer, and it's not just the elderly, I'm thinking of the younger families too. It might be $300 their taxes are gonna go up. For a young family, that's a car repair that keeps them going to work. For an elderly person that had their taxes frozen, now, do they revert to what they were? And
Not
when
for
it,
this
when
year.
it goes up?
Not for this.
Okay, so say for
next year.
instance, they would be going up 300 this year due to what we're doing here.
It goes
and
up
then-
I don't think
well,
there's
$22.
$300
I'm,
here.
no, I'm,
It
I'm,
goes up 22 cents
right, no, there was
on
a,
a
there was, excuse me,
$350,000.
I'm speaking. Can we just wait a second? I'm just giving you can speak after I'm done. There was an example given that someone and I can't remember, I think it was one of the nights it was discussed. There was an example that someone off their house worth, it would go up $300 a year. Doesn't seem like a lot of money, because I think I remember it was at the town meeting, someone mentioned that's who cares, it's $300. To an elderly person on fixed income, that's a big deal. And then if they get their thing taken away where their taxes are frozen, and then they maybe get bumped up, oh, you owe 600 this year, or maybe it was 400 extra, and oh, no, you owe 800 this year, when they have that one frozen year. That's a lot of money. You know, we're voting on something that we haven't even given the model a chance. It's not legal what was done. The thought process was done. I just think I see the kids that go to school with my son, and I just think about their families and how hard they're working, and some of them are like a day away from losing their homes. And then we want to tax them more just not to give something a chance. And that just breaks my heart. And we're supposed to be fiscally responsible. That's why we were elected, to our citizens. You have people at the town meetings complaining about $5 on their bill for Spectrum. Don't do it. $5. So you want to tell them, oh yeah, but we're going to make sure we're going to tax you with this. So I think it's an uneven view of what is right for the town and for the taxpayer. We're a poor town. Done.
All right, can I speak now? There was another notation on this sheet prior to this that we received that said a $350,000 home would increase the mill rate by 22 cents
Could I
a
clarify?
thousand, right?
It's the mill rate, yeah, 22 cents per thousand.
Right, which
So you'd have to,
was a $77 increase, not a $300 increase.
I'm giving there was
I know,
another
and
example.
I-
She's
I'm-
talking now, I think.
I'm
Mhm.
talking now, thank you. So the $350,000 is an average price for home in Lyman, unless you live on the pond and you have a much higher assessment. Most of the homes on the ponds, I'm gonna say, are a higher assessment, but for a $350,000 assessment, the increase is $77. When dividing that out monthly, comes out to about $8. If I did my math right, I'm slow today, $6 and some odd change. $6 and some odd change is not a big increase in a tax bill. My tax bill in Waterboro went up $800. Don't know why, it went up $800. So the reasoning behind this as well, I think, is basically because the charter reads that we have a separate town clerk. We have gone against the charter with not having a separate town clerk. I think the townspeople, 300 and some odd that signed the petition, argued that this is worth doing. You don't even see 300 people show up at a town meeting, but 300 people signed the petition and understood what they were signing. They agreed the town clerk position was important. Today, I asked you about the tally on the voting.
I volunteered and covered dinners.
I know. And it still needs to be investigated because all three of those should have.
Let's bring back to here.
Right, I am bringing it back to here. That's why a town clerk is important because of the experience. And we're not rehiring. It's an open new hiring. But, I think it's important that we don't overwork our town manager by having them do 3 full-time jobs.
So are we going against the charter by putting in a select board clerk because that was removed?
No, because that's in.
No, it's not. Look in the charter, the select board clerk was removed.
But
So
it
we're
was
going,
voted in.
no, it was removed and it was voted without a select board clerk. You can look at the chart.
Right, in the charter.
So
But it
here,
was voted in that we have a select board clerk. Right,
no,
Dave?
She's the chair, she gets it.
yes, sir.
I agree with Sue that the amount of the increase in taxes is well under what you had to say it was. The issue that I have with this is not the cost. The issue is the position. The town clerk is a very important position in town for several reasons. One of the reasons is because I've gone down and registered my car and I go in there and there's not enough people. They seem to be, in my opinion, because I've been in there and had it done, they seem to be overworked. Sooner or later, they're going to get really overworked and we're going to have some unhappy people in that front office. The other reason is we have a town manager now who has a specific job to do. We have a town manager who has a specific job to do. We're paying that person to do the town manager job. If we're gonna make them the town clerk and the select board clerk and the registrar of voters, where does she get the time to do the town manager job? What's gonna suffer? We're paying her to be a town manager when she's a town clerk. Is she being paid to be a town clerk? Or is she being paid a town manager pay? If she's doing the registrar of voters, is she being paid town manager work pay, or is she being registrar of voters pay? And it's the same thing for the select board clerk. Why are we paying a high-priced person to do a low-priced job when they really need to be doing their real job? where are our grants that she's supposed to be going, writing for? And all the other stuff that we were told when we voted, when the town voted to have a town clerk. They were told that this town manager was gonna write grants, they were gonna save us money. Well, the town, if they write one grant, they'll save this money. If they don't write any town grant, okay, it's gonna be gone. Just my opinion is we need, now, I'm not that adamant about the select board clerk. I mean, that's a toss
Because
up
you
in my
know, it's not
opinion.
in the charter, correct?
What's that?
It's not in the charter. It
I
got
don't care if
removed.
it's on the charter or
Right, but
not.
that's what we're saying. Well,
The
but
charter
that's
hasn't
part of your
been
point.
followed in a lot of cases, but what I'm saying is, it's not my issue, but my issue is the town clerk. We had the same issue at the town meeting. If you noticed, a majority of the people at the town meeting voted in such a way as that they wanted to keep the town clerk. Now, those of us that were at the town meeting, we know it turned out to be different because it would have messed up the finances. So it was, but I believe the majority of the town people in the town of Lyman want a town clerk.
That's why we had such support. for that.
Well, I mean, there's still, I mean, how many people came up to town meeting? Again, you look at that compared to, I've had people say they don't care. So, I mean, it's a purview. If it went to a vote in November, who knows if it would go or not. Again, like the select board clerk, that's one thing that I said, I know that got removed in charter. So we're adding that back in. So that goes, it's an oxymoron. You're saying 1 minute, this town clerk is in there, we have to have one. Oh, but let's add the select board clerk and that's okay, even though it's not in the charter now.
Do they both have to be added, or can you just add
Select
one
board clerk
back
is
in?
you can't add it back into a charter. The charter would have to be amended to add them back in as a.
But
on
our
the
responsibility here at this table, is it
the
to,
financial.
it's the financial, but
Yes.
it does it have to be the financial to cover both clerk positions? Or can we put forward an amount just to cover the town clerk?
I don't know.
We can put in any amount we want.
We can put in, yeah, you can't raise it, we can lower it.
Yeah, we can't raise it, but we
Because
can lower it.
the dollar value is in the article already written, so we cannot raise it. We can lower it.
lower it.
Okay.
And-
Just as you can on the town meeting floor. So we can
Yeah.
recommend anything we want.
Yeah, so my thoughts, I'll just share my thoughts on this, because at the town meeting, when this all started, I felt like it was not prudent to include the town clerk position in with the town manager position, just because we were having a change in government structure, let that ride. But it has changed, and now we have a person in that position. I have talked to that person and asked her opinion. She feels she can do it. I don't know if she can or she cannot. I have no idea. She seems capable. So I'm kind of torn. Do we ride this out for a year and see how it goes? And at that point in time, if the town feels like we're not getting the grants and the whatever, can we make a change at that point in time?
Mhm.
I'm also hearing there's 300 and some odd signatures on a petition, which is a good
That's
portion of the
sizable.
town. So it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, but we don't get to make that decision tonight.
No.
No, I
Jeanette
know,
had
I
raised
know,
her
I
hand,
know.
so yes, Jeanette.
I just want to go back to Karen's question about putting a dollar amount and saying it's only for the town clerk or it's only for the select board clerk. The amount you put is the amount that you put. And like I said at town meeting, that's what you vote is the dollar amount. You don't vote the individual items that
Okay.
go into that dollar amount.
So essentially, the town clerk could be paid as a full-time position out of the 134. And the select board clerk could be a part-time position similar to a secretary at a lower rate so that it equals out, it still comes out to 134.
Or it could be the opposite. Town clerk's
Or-
part-time and
Yeah.
the select board clerk is full-time.
Which,
It would be up to your board.
or it could be
Or
the
two
same
part-time.
person.
Yeah.
It could be the same person, and then you end up with a extra funds. I mean, because the budget hasn't been set. This is
The budget for next year?
for
or-
next year.
No,
Right.
we're just starting to
Yeah,
work on that.
Right.
We'll get
Yeah,
do that.
Well, that's what I,
Next.
that's what I'm saying.
Maybe a
is
first quarter
that-
meeting we should do tonight too.
Right, and then that's what I guess alluding to is the fact that the
No.
town clerk and the
Not
select
yet.
board clerk could be the same position. It could be a lesser number for next year's budget to put before the voters. The money for this year is for two separate, and for the select board, I guess, to decide who gets paid what.
But I think to
Yeah,
Karen's
and what
point,
they
If
want to do,
that's taken out of surplus.
what they want to do for hours and what they want to,
So there's options, you know.
yeah, there's a
still-
bunch of options.
Yeah,
So the
bottom line
dollar
is select
amount
board
is the
gets to do what
dollar
they
amount.
want
Right.
in the
Right.
end.
So I,
but to Karen's point, I mean, I've asked the town manager whether they feel they're capable or they're overburdened, and they don't. I've even asked the office staff at the window, do you feel like you're like overburdened and having a tough time? And they said no. They said they love it. It's great. Everything's going really smooth there. Does that change in 3 months? I don't know. But again, is it hard to wait 1 year to see if this model works? It does work in other towns, regardless of size. It does work in other towns. It just depends how your employees work together.
well, and I'll fall back to the ballot question that I had today. Why? Looking at the ballot itself and the responses, Bill and I were write-ins for 2-year and 3-year positions. There were 2 people running for the 1-year position, Karen and Ken. The numbers don't add up, and all 3 of those numbers should add up to the amount of ballots cast. Bill's came out to 66. Mine came out to 61.
Can I tell you why?
I have not answered.
I do know why, and you can go in and look yourself and see why.
Why?
It's because your names were written in multiple places.
So
So just not
But-
go there.
but what
You
I-
guys can go
okay.
see it yourself. If you saw what I saw, you would know that it makes sense why it looks like
Well,
that.
and this is what I'm saying, is that and I'm not trying to slight anybody. I
No,
think
this is her first election.
it's
So
her first election, and I think she's doing a great job so far with everything that's on her plate. But it's impossible to keep that up. And this is why we need a separate town clerk. Not just because it's in the charter that we have a separate town clerk, but so that we don't burn her out. She's, there's going to be errors. There's a major election coming up. I think it's important that somebody who knows how to be a town clerk and run an election runs that election. That's my
the
opinion.
town clerk we had started with no experience. We all gain our experience somewhere.
But after 14 years ran efficiently and
that's your
methodically.
opinion.
And,
It doesn't matter, she's gone.
Mhm.
no matter personal aside, the documents were correct.
Not all the time.
That's all I'm going to say.
Another issue is that when the select board made their decision, they used some information that was incorrect. And I think Joe Wagner has the information on that was incorrect about the different towns. They said they compared other towns who had combined supposedly town clerks, town managers together, and come to find out that really wasn't true.
No, it is true.
They picked places that were different.
But that's not our concern tonight. Tonight is
No,
money.
it's all part of the reason we're here, because of the way that it was selected. Can we recognize Joe to talk about that?
I'm not comfortable with that, so we weren't provided it in advance. But if we want to take a vote, we can. It still should not impact our decision on whether we're voting for money, less money, or not.
We're voting,
we don't
right
think we
now,
need to
we're
reinvent
voting
the
for
wheel.
134,746. It's been made and seconded.
No, I think we all should have
Okay.
had documents in advance to research and do our own stuff.
There's a motion on the floor.
who made I'm sorry.
I
I'm getting back into the swing of the budget.
I
stuff.
made the motion.
Okay. Dave,
Sue
I
seconded it.
second.
okay.
All those in favor? All those against? All those opposed, abstaining?
So it's
4-1
No, I'm
with
gonna
one
say that,
abstention.
I'm gonna go with the 134. I'm gonna vote.
Okay,
so
it's
5-1.
5-1.
I got it, yep.
Got
I'm
it?
good.
Okay.
I move we adjourn, unless we have other things to talk
No,
about.
really quickly, I will have a quarterly coming up.
Yeah, so after the last select board meeting, of the month, then we can set our schedule to meet for the quarterly, because pretty much not much changes from there out. So it's whenever you want to
That was
do
something
it.
the last budget committee started, that we meet quarterly
Quarterly.
to review the numbers that were from the budget and see if we're kind of on task for the quarters. And then if we get to ask Jeanette questions if something's over or under or not being spent, or sometimes there's like a negative number and we're like, what's this, Jeanette? And she'll explain to us why. And it just actually gives you a really good heads up for end of year when we're doing the budget with the board, where things are at, and gives you some clarity and helps understand looking at all the papers for the first time, because it's like, Jeanette's amazing though. She'll lead us right through it.
Thank you.
So with that, I guess we'll wait to hear from Jeanette when the boards had their final meeting, and then we can,
So they'll have their final meeting on Monday.
on Monday.
So if you
So
want
maybe
to,
October-ish. Is there a better night that works for people? I mean, is there, I mean, does the every other Monday opposite the select board work for you guys
Fine with
on
me.
Mondays?
Yeah, it's fine. with
The
me.
only
That's my
I
one
can't
day that
make
I'm
is
not super nuts.
Thursdays, because I have. a
Thursdays
meeting.
work for me too. Thursdays and
Thursday doesn't
Mondays.
work for me.
Thursday
Doesn't?
work for
Okay.
me
No,
either.
because I'm
Okay.
on the ordinance review committee.
Okay, you want, or I seen your
And
Thursdays.
Wednesdays don't work.
Wednesdays don't work.
Wednesdays once a month,
Mondays?
because the cemetery committee meets on
So
the first.
do you want to
Wednesday.
try every other Monday? Well, we wouldn't need every other, but like a Monday opposite of a select.
Yeah,
board.
what happens is we meet once a quarter on a Monday.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
After
Yeah.
the selectmen's meeting.
Yeah, in the budget season, we'll have to meet
Yeah.
every other Monday.
Yeah,
If we
no,
have
that's fine.
to squeak them in. That good for everyone?
Yeah,
So
usually
usually that's
budget
when they
season
meet.
starts around January plus or minus, and
Yeah.
it
We're
used to
skidded
get
in
over
hot.
about March, but now it seems to go until May. So,
We're usually like meeting on, unfortunately, like weeks in a row towards the end. Hopefully it won't happen this
Yeah.
time, but
well, we've been without a select board secretary for a while, and now we have the town manager. So she and I spoke about contracts that are coming up, and we're gonna try to get those off and running a lot sooner than they were getting off and running, because usually that's what we end up waiting for. And one of the biggest contracts coming up is a transfer station hauling
Oh, yeah.
contract.
Mhm.
So we're getting ready to put that out end of December, beginning of January, so that we have it for budget season.
okay,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
sounds good. All right. I'll entertain that motion.
okay, I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Pleasure, everyone. See you at the next meeting.
Yes. See you, Joe.
Bye, Joe.